Oh boy, oh boy. See, I've messed that up too. Brooklyn Menace is here. Let's put his logo up here. It's been one of those days, everyone. It's been
You were
one
going to
of
do
those
a big
days.
intro thing,
I
and
was
now
gonna do a
he's just
big intro.
there.
But you know what? What's bigger intro than Brooklyn Menace right there? It's been a crazy week, but definitely a crazy day today. Out
No,
of
you're
nowhere,
just crazy, Glenn.
Well,
You're just
yeah.
crazy. That's
Well,
how it
out of
works.
nowhere, I jumped up to 10,000 subs. So I want to thank everyone first of all for all the support with that.
Yeah, congratulations, everybody.
Thank you. So
I
that happened. He's here. You know, very busy work day, and also had a stress test because my blood pressure has apparently been through the roof. So I passed the stress test with flying colors, more or less. So that's good. But yeah, so a lot of things going on. I have so much I want to do in the show, but I got to
We
calm
got a full
down.
boat today.
I have a very full boat. A lot of things I want to do today. We're gonna have some giveaways today. 10,000 subs. We'll give away some giveaways. We still have the June 9th episode with the signed Don Bluth.
Space Ace,
Space
mini
Ace,
arcade.
great, right here. Boom, let's pull that up right here. That'll be someone's gift right there. It'll be awesome to have. So we have that going on. I still have a sale going on the Build-A-Cade. A lot of stuff. But let's get it started. So the big thing for today is we have Hobby Hands. Thank you for the $2 super chat. Really appreciate it. 10 years to get to 10,000. So I made it.
1,000 per year.
That's right. And I'm very thankful to every one of the people out there who want to see my madness. I don't know, but I appreciate it. But listen, today we also have Brooklyn Menace. I don't want to distract from having on the show. I'm very happy to have him on the show. Brooklyn Menace, welcome to Kicking It Old School.
This guy.
Oh, he's muted? You know what? I can, but let's see over here.
I can hear
It's
you.
always something. Hold on. There we go. Try it now.
Why wouldn't I be muted? You know, actually, Glenn, I should be muted on every show that I'm on. But thank you for having me here, and congratulations on 10,000 subs.
That's how
Really
we greet
appreciate
our
it.
guests, by muting them.
We do.
Thanks, Glenn.
We do. I like talking too much. So, but I wanted to have you on the show for a number of reasons. One, you're a big, iiRcade fan, which obviously I am as well. So I wanted to have you come on the show to talk about that, but also just about you yourself. A lot of people don't know who you are. How
Well,
you got
I'm one
into
of them.
gaming.
I just met him a few minutes ago.
There we
I'm
go.
a huge man of mystery.
You are. So we're gonna start peeling away that onion and
Oh,
find a
no.
little bit more about Brooklyn Menace. Now, obviously, you're from Brooklyn.
Yes.
Right. That's not too far from me. By train, it's probably an hour. By train, maybe a little further driving. So one of these days, me and him are gonna meet up and we'll do a really big powwow. But Brooklyn, tell me a little bit about. I know you have a lot of machines now, but tell me about its history. Like, when did you first get into gaming? What got you hooked on this drug of home video game arcades?
Glenn, we're actually pretty close in age. So actually what got me hooked was the arcades. I mean, back as far as in the 70s, late 70s, when I used to go away every year to a hotel in the Catskills Mountain, and they had an arcade there. And as a kid, we were just free to roam in this hotel, and I would just hang out in the arcades. And I remember every year you'd go, the new big title would be there. And what really blew me away was when I walked in one year and Space Invaders was there, and like all the
That's
kids were just crowded around it. And I'm like a little kid, trying to squeeze in there to watch the teenagers play. And I was just captivated by it.
I tell you that the first machine I actually saw in the arcade was actually, believe it or not, Breakout, but even before Pong. But once I saw Space Invaders, that one really, really got me hooked. Oh, we had another super chat from Paul. I'm sorry to break in. Glenn, here's
He got
a
a
dollar
dollar.
for every year you've been on YouTube. Here's
That's
another
awesome.
10 years. Thank you so much, Paul, man.
So
I
in 10 years, they'll
appreciate
give
it.
you $20.
I won't be around another 10 years. The stress test went well, but stress is stress. So you got hooked in with Space Invaders. So me and you definitely had a first love for that. Was that your game? I mean, that was maybe the first game that you hooked. But what was your favorite arcade game? You look like more of a fighter guy to me than
I'm
Space
actually
Invaders.
not. That's
Okay.
my least favorite category,
Really?
to tell you the truth. Yeah. I love watching people that can play fighting games fight against each other, but like I'm useless in a fighting game. All I'm doing is hitting buttons and hoping for something good to happen.
That's how we do it. That's the way I do it.
Yeah, sometimes I ask people, like, is that how you play? Like, I want to literally know what I'm doing and to make my fighter do what I want it to do and pull off the moves.
Right.
But no, I'm just hitting buttons, and if something flashy happens on the screen, I get lucky every once in a while.
Well,
Well,
that's
what Glenn's asking you, this is the interesting part. So when we go to the arcade, we like the whole flashy stuff. Then
Mhm.
there's this one game we fall in love with, and that spawns 20, 30 years later to getting these things in your background, and then Glen's and my
Okay.
arcade. And that we trying to get that one game that we fell in love with, whatever that is. So
That's
what
an
was it
easy
for
one for
you?
me. That's easy. There were 2 games. When I walked into an arcade, I was comfortable watching other people play, but the games that I would put my quarters in were 2 games. It would either be Cubert or Frogger,
2 good
because
games.
I could actually get some time out of those.
Hmm.
Whereas on the other ones, I was like, hey, a quarter when you're a young kid, you don't have too many of them. So you got to make good choices. I used to walk around the arcade checking all the coin slots, and every once in a while you get lucky, get a few.
Oh yeah,
But
you gotta love
Frogger I
those.
can play for a bit. So yeah, that I used to play Frogger.
Frogger
That's
was a very good
interesting.
game.
It's cool that you gravitate toward these games 20, 30 years later, and they really catapult to getting all these machines to relive that. And it's different for everybody. There's games that I'm not a Frogger guy. Me, I was a Pac-Man person.
Mhm.
Pac-Man was my, oh my God, this is fantastic, and while everybody was playing the one game I thought was like your fighting game reference was for me was Stargate and Defender. I thought people that played that were gods. There was like
Oh yeah.
16 buttons and they made everything explode on the screen, kind of like Robotron, but with spaceships, right? And you're like, good God. And that was the game that I went, these people are gods that play these particular games and stuff like that. But Pac-Man was
Yeah. I would
my
play Defender, but that was like intimidating, because you knew like you were going to be done pretty quick. One that I used to play a lot was Zaxxon, because as a kid,
Glen's
like
got one of those.
I
that
have
was
one of
like the
those. That's
most
right.
amazing graphics you ever saw in a game at that
Yeah.
time.
If you want to see a real one, go to Glen's place.
He's gonna visit one day. It still works. I mean, it got some water damage from the basement flood, but it absolutely still works. And like I said, that isometric was like the first that I remember isometric game. Um, and it was very challenging at the time, just trying to how to get your ship to get through those the little electric parts that went across the top. See, that's
Well,
what
to get
like
to line up
iArcade
that
needs something
three-quarter
like that.
view.
iArcade works with Sega licenses. They need Zaxxon. That's one they need.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
it's like, obviously I got the Atari 2600, and then I was able to play Asteroids at home and that wonky version of Pac-Man
Yeah. The
and
beautiful landfill game.
Missile Command. Missile Command wasn't that terrible.
No,
It
Mystical
was
Command was
okay.
good.
It was
Yeah.
okay. It was playable with a joystick well enough.
Asteroids wasn't that bad either, with the colored asteroids.
Yeah, I liked it. Yeah. I thought Pac-Man was the worst one.
Oh
Miss
yeah, that
Pac-Man was
I can
decent.
still hear that music in my head.
Oh
It
yeah,
was
it was.
flickering, it was just terrible. But that was the first system, my parents brought home for my brother and I for the holidays, and it's like
Oh
we were
wow.
just blown away.
Was
You
your
know,
brother older or younger?
yeah, he's 2 years older than me.
Okay, so you had him probably going, "Hey, mom and dad, I took out the garbage. How about those games?"
You know how
And they
we used to get
probably,
games back in Brooklyn? We used to shovel snow.
oh yeah,
We
same
used to
here.
go walking around the neighborhood hustling, shoveling snow, and that's how we would buy our games.
You got paid for shoveling 20 feet of snow, and like I did up here in Canada, minus 40 degrees
Or
Celsius.
no, thank you.
Or
Hey,
we would wait outside, because in Brooklyn, they didn't let you take the shopping carts out, because the kids would steal them and ride around in them in the neighborhood.
oh
So they
really?
had these metal bars. So we used to stand outside like Wallbaums and Key Food, and we would offer to help people hold their packages. That's what it was. And we were all out there like hustling. So some of the older people, would pay us to bring their packages to their car.
Oh, that's cool. Make a few bucks there. Why not?
Yeah.
What was the games? What were they priced at back then? Do you remember?
They were still like $49 to $59 back, but
They were
back
still
then
expensive.
that was
Yeah.
very expensive. That was like over
That's hard on a
$100.
kid, man.
Yeah.
Wow. So that took you a while to save up for that. Did you upgrade from the 2600 to something else, or?
Yeah, so we used to have like people would have yard sales, and eventually my friend had a yard sale, and part of the deal, we got their ColecoVision with
Oh
the
yeah,
with that special controller that we used to play baseball with.
the Super Action controller. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, that was nice. That
and
was real nice.
that was a big upgrade. I remember we had in television too. with the controllers that were attached into the console by like a telephone cord,
Yeah.
and you could
Yeah.
slip the pieces of paper in for the different games. But I just don't recall what I used to play on that. But the
Night
ColecoVision, like
Stalker was a big one.
if you
There was
had
a
a
lot of them.
ColecoVision, like you were the king of the neighborhood.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
everybody wanted to come over.
Yeah,
and
that's what
play
we
that.
got. We
'Cause
got
had
the
Donkey Kong.
ColecoVision. We got the ColecoVision with the Atari adapter. That was like, oh my god, I could play anything, you know.
Yep,
So
and it's basically you bought another 2600. It basically was just
yeah,
an
yeah,
Atari 2600 without
yeah.
the power supply. That's all it was. But it was the first time that not only was there a backwards compatibility, but it was another company being compatible with someone else's product. And they was sued. Obviously, Atari sued them because they did use the TIA chip, and that was the one thing that was
They
proprietary.
cloned it apparently,
Right, it was cloned. So
but they didn't win. Apparently,
no, they did win. So Coleco, they won, but Coleco said we'll pay you a license for everyone we sell. So I go, all right, pay us a license. We're still selling, so they
Mhm.
were okay with it. Again, back then, no one really knew how big the gaming industry was going to be. Now, a lot of people felt it was still a fad that was going to come and like a pet rock and go. But yeah, so and then
That's like playing a PlayStation game on an Xbox
it
to today's
is, it
today's
is.
contrast. You know what I mean? Like that's
Mattel,
unheard of. Your people's mind would be blown.
yep,
You know?
Mattel, I believe, with in Television 2 had an Atari 2600. They called it the changer. So the Intellivision 2, not the original one, could do it. And Coleco was working on an Intellivision adapter as well, but the market crashed. So that never came out. Just imagine the ColecoVision. That, like I said, that was the Rolls Royce back then. If you could get ColecoVision 2600 and Intellivision, you didn't need anything else.
You had everything.
You had
At
everything.
that point.
Yeah.
So keep going. What else did you get
Then,
after that?
and then I remember, obviously, Commodore 64. I used to like be amazed that I can make the screen change colors. I knew how to
Oh
like,
yeah,
do little programming,
yeah.
and
Poke
we had the tape
532.
cassettes to load the game. So you'd go have dinner, and then maybe by the time dinner was done, the game was
Yeah.
almost loaded. Then we had gotten into Glenn. I don't know if you were into this too. We were like little hustlers. We got into trading games on floppy disk.
Yeah, I was
Oh,
in there.
back then? Yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
like Raid Over Moscow. Like
Raid on Bungling Bay,
dude, we had
Choplifter.
everything.
Yeah,
Um,
I was
yeah,
a
and
64
we were like
guy
little
myself.
hustlers, like
Yep.
trading games. I remember like I would go visit my cousins in Long Island and be up in like my aunt and uncle's computer room at the time. All we were doing was burning games all day. You
Yeah.
know,
And then you went back to your hometown, you were like a god because you
yes.
came back with like 600 games or whatever. And
Came back
everybody
with
be
a
like,
Cherokee
"Oh my
Boys
god."
tape and a bunch of new games.
Yeah. And that's what it was back then, especially the 64. I grew up with the 64 and it was leaps and bounds above the ColecoVision, and you can get the games for free. That was to a kid, you didn't have to buy the games anymore. It was piracy
Yeah.
out the yin yang, like you're
Right.
saying, hustling the games.
Right.
But what they expect from a kid that's what 19, 12 years old, let's say, you know, and you're hustling the games. I don't know if I would have called it hustling, more pirating
No.
games.
I mean, if I, you know, when the
Did they
computer
have that
industry
term back
first
then?
when the
Yeah.
computer industry first came out, software was really considered free. It was the hardware you had to buy. You know, people wrote code and they would share the programs initially, games, everything. They would share it. But like Bill Gates came around and was like, no. You're gonna pay me for this stuff. So he kind of started that whole part, and then copy protection came on. And then it became, oh, you copy protect it? I bet you I can crack it. And that started that whole scene. Like the Amiga, you know, that was like the big thing. You know, cracking and the Atari ST, cracking those boot code to get those games to be copied. But you know, you definitely still bought the games back then. But
Oh yeah.
if your friend had a copy, you guys, I buy this game, you buy this game, and we'll copy it, and then you get like 2 for 1. That's just the way it worked back then.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And that's the thing. So, would you believe I still remember the command to change the screen color on the Commodore 64?
I
It's
don't.
burnt into my psyche. It's I think it's people in the chat might correct me. I think it's poke 53280 comma whatever color you wanted.
You can literally put a winning lotto ticket in front of me and say, just make this screen change colors.
Yeah.
Just take it back.
But that's the thing. Back then, it was awesome. So, what else did you go from the Commodore 64 after that? What was the next
I would say
thing?
the next thing I can remember, I can barely remember what happened yesterday, but I do remember. Like, I think really what changed the game is Nintendo when we started getting
The
into
NES.
that. Um, there was some stuff I skipped, you know. There
Yep.
was, but Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64, like from that point on, I had them all.
So you went from console, a little bit of computer, went back to console, and then finished off with console, I guess, for a while.
Yeah, I would say from Nintendo on, I've had everything
Oh, that's
on
cool. That
from
gets
every
expensive,
company
but cool.
except for the Jaguar. That for some reason that was the only one I skipped when it came out. I remember I kept considering getting it for the Alien game, but that was the one I've never picked up, and I've actually never even played on a Jaguar.
Glenn, you have a Jaguar, don't
I
you?
got two. Of course, I have two of them. I got a
I don't
Jaguar
have any.
CD. But you know, the Jaguar is an acquired taste. It's got a couple of really good games on it, but there's a lot that aren't. But the emulator now, the emulator works extremely well. Have you tried that? If you don't have the link, I'll
Um,
get that to you.
I don't think I don't think I've tried it.
It
The
works
Jaguar.
perfectly. It was actually used, I guess, for the 40th anniversary Atari collection, and the emulator on there is fantastic. And now it even supports Jaguar CD. So if you want to get a taste for Alien versus the Predator, Tempest 2000, Defender 2000, Pong 2000, all those games, um, Iron Soldier. Iron Soldier is really really good. You can now
When
play
did that
them on
thing
your
come out?
PC.
When did it come out?
The Jaguar was the emulator or the Jaguar.
The Jaguar itself.
Jaguar was 92, 92, 93 when that
92.
came out.
And they had all these 2000 games? That's kind of odd. But okay,
They
whatever.
did, yes.
Sure, whatever. I'm not judging. No, okay. You know.
Tempest 2000 was is like the title, but they had quite a few good ones. Like Castle Wolfenstein is the best version of that classic game, and Doom is the best console port. Although now I understand that they hacked 32X version, and that one might now be as good or better because
Oh
they
yeah,
have
they optimized it.
they
I had the
optimized it
32X version. That was the whole reason that I got the 32X.
for Doom.
Yeah, I had the whole tower. I had the
The
original. I was
Tower
there
Tower
Tower.
day
Tower.
one for the Sega CD. You know, the one that went underneath the larger one, like the first generation of it, and then I got the 32X, which kind of like really bombed horribly. But I think the only game I ever got for the 32X was the Doom. That was my 100% reason for getting it.
But
And
look
then
up the version that they redid. It's incredible what they've optimized over from 30 years ago or whatever. It's crazy.
They
I
did.
can remember playing Doom and actually being like, wow, this is actually kind of terrifying. Like, and right now, that like you wouldn't feel that way anymore playing it. But
Yeah,
back
yeah.
then, it was
3D. It was
just
like,
like, yeah,
wow.
you just couldn't believe it.
Yeah, Wolfenstein did that for me on a computer. I was
Yep.
like playing Wolfenstein 3D and I went, "Oh my god."
I
It
was
was it's not amazing now, but
no.
back then you're like, "Holy crap."
I was
3D.
at
I was hooked on
Prodigy
that
in
game.
the time, so it was like 91 when Castle Wolfenstein came out. It was on a couple floppies, and it was at my Amiga with a 32X bridge board. So you had 386 SX is what I had. And
It could run it, right?
oh yeah, it did. It had a sound blaster in there, and I played it, and it was like Tetris, Doom. Those are the games you wasted your summer. You didn't go outside. You were inside playing these games nonstop. As bad and good as that was, but those are not quite the same anymore because there's nothing like VR. I know Brooklyn Menace, you're into VR too, and I'm kind of getting
Oh,
that
big
feeling
time.
again, having something so different and new to play.
Mhm.
That I'm getting like hooked again in something that really.
Yeah.
Cole comes downstairs. I'm sitting there like this.
Glad I was
Did
so happy when I saw that you got the VR, and then because I think a lot of people that come from old school gaming don't realize that there's a lot of VR games that will bring you back to those times,
Right.
you know, and there's some that will actually put you back in those times. Like that,
Oh yeah.
it's just not like an old school type arcade game in VR. Like they'll literally bring you back to the late 80s, early 90s.
Well,
So
don't isn't there a okay? So I've seen this. I don't know what VR platform it's on, but some dude made an arcade replica. You walk through, and you can
yeah,
actually it runs MAME in the back end, and you could play Pac-Man. You're
yeah,
actually at a Pac-Man cabinet, and you whatever, and you actually hear all the different sounds coming
see
in, and it
people
has the
walking
80s.
around.
Well, the one I saw didn't have anybody, but I'm sure they probably added that later.
They keep updating it. It's a free program that you can get for VR. Like if you're
Okay.
doing mostly like you'll if you're hooked up through a computer, you can
Okay.
download that stuff. But yeah, that's
I don't
probably how
have
they're
one.
doing
My
it.
son does, but I don't have one. Did you end up trying that plank game, Glenn, at all?
No,
The Oh,
I
dude, you got to try that. It's
I've been
funny as
playing the pirate game, and then I downloaded it's an Apollo 11 simulator,
Oh,
which
that's
I'm
a good. I put my mother in that one when VR first came out. I'm talking like what I'm talking like 6 7 years ago is when I started with VR, and that blew her away.
I it was it's to me I've always liked space and stuff like that. So to be going up on the elevator, and I'm like, holy shit! I'm sitting on the command module next to poor Mike Collins. I guess they booted him out because it was Buzz and Neil, and I'm sitting in there, and I'm actually looking right in the capsule. I'm getting launched, and the battery died in that one. But then there's the other one I bought where it's like a solar system simulator. So I'm standing in front of the Earth, and it takes me through the whole all the planets. You're standing
Yeah,
in the universe. You know, you got Saturn. You see the big rings, and all the moons come around. You can take your hand and pick one of the moons out and look at it. It's just a new level. Now I was at Glen Baisley's house yesterday, and he's got the PS5 with the VR.
me
So I
too.
guess that's oh, you do. All right.
Oh
So
yeah,
that's like a whole other level of VR. So
yeah.
I'm really getting now hooked on that. So
Hmm.
and it's not cheap. The VR, I mean, what I got, the Meta 2 wasn't too bad because I actually used my company
It's a great.
entry
That is
drug.
basically really what made VR go mainstream. I believe was they call it the Meta Quest 2 now. It was the Quest
Right.
2 when I got it.
Yeah,
Um,
my son's got the Quest 2. That's
I'm
what he's
really
got.
working on getting a lot of people in the community into VR, but I'm telling everyone to just wait for the Quest 3, which will come out later this year.
Yeah, of course, after I got this, I'm hearing like, in
You're
like
good
4
though, Glenn. I'm
months.
telling you, the Quest 2, you still got a lot of years out of that. But you gotta get
Did you
you
try
gotta
that
get you
plank
gotta get the
game,
mini golf game,
Brooklyn?
Glenn, because
Did you
it's
try the
crossplay.
Did
Well,
you
I
try
have
the plank game,
Oh
Brooklyn?
yeah. Yeah,
have you played the plank
literally
game?
literally this Thanksgiving when I was up in New York, I brought it with me and it made people walk walk on the plank. There's nothing that
It's
amuses
scary
me
as
more
hell,
than
man.
putting
It's
people in
amazing.
VR that have never been in VR before and making them do like stuff like heights and things
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
it's nuts.
Well, that's the thing. When I was in the space simulator, I mean, you start to get like you feel that you're like floating out in the middle of nowhere, and you lose your
Yeah.
bearings sometimes. You know, I'm walking and I'm walking into a couch, and I'm like, ah, I go tumbling over. I'm gonna record that because that's probably just as fun as watching you play the game as falling over things in the
Oh
room.
yeah. Yeah, recording people. What did you think VR was going to be
Well,
before you tried it for the first time?
there's only two other times I really did VR. One was the cell phone ones. It was just a cheap
That's
plastic
not
shell,
VR.
and you put a thing in. But it was like cool, kind of cool. I mean, it wasn't fantastic, but I was like, ah, it's okay. I could turn my head and look around. But when I was in NASA, my neighbor Mary Parker, we had gone down and went to NASA, and they had the like the Mars experience with the Hololens. So
Mhm.
that was more like augmented reality, and you're standing on Mars, and you see Buzz Aldrin, but you can see people still around you, easily, and that blew me away because I'm like, I'm standing on Mars. I mean, this everything here is where it is on Mars, and I'm now there, and I'm walking around, and I'm able to really inspect things. But the Meta 2 being that it's all like self-contained, it's battery operated, it creates its zone. It's really immersive. I don't know how they do some of the things. Like I know when you walk out of your zone, there's no you get that you can kind of see we are
You can
outside
start to
of
see
that.
your house, yeah.
Right. So I can go over, smack my kid, and then go back in my VR. Um, I think that I can like Tron. I want to see a Tron game. If there is a Tron game in VR, please point that one out. I want to be doing a light cycle in the VR because
I
it's
can send you over some recommendations.
that'd be
But
fantastic because
when I
it's a
first started playing VR, Glenn, like I said to myself, "Wow, I never need to go on vacation again." Like I could
right,
just
right.
I could just stay home and do whatever I want.
and that's one thing too, because there are also just movies for the VR. And I went on, I think it was a couple of roller coasters. I'd done that. You know, you don't feel it, but visually you see, oh, you're gonna go down, and Grand Canyon, hang gliding. You know, you're able to look around. So those experiences are something that you just don't get with, sitting in front of a television. And the fact that you have this thing on and you're just turning head and looking like you would naturally. And I'm more impressed when you have the two things in your hand, how well they track. I mean, they
Yeah.
do really, really smooth. I'm taking like the guns in the pirate game.
They
I'm
even
like,
track your fingers, I think, too, eh?
it
Yeah,
to
if
a
you put them
point.
down, it'll just your hands will appear in VR on the
Yes.
MetaQuest too. They've come a long way with that too. It's starting to work really well.
But I'm impressed with the resolution of the textures. Because when I'm looking at a gun and I bring the gun like all the way to my face, I'm looking around, they textured
Mhm.
everything. You can see down the barrel, and if it's a laser, it's kind of glowing down there. So it's scary good. So I know Meta 3 was coming out. I think it's more resolution, a better
It's gonna be
processor.
twice as powerful.
So that's gonna be pretty wild because this right now is good. You do see some of the, anti-aliasing effects, on the lines, which I'm assuming in this next one you probably won't, but it's pretty impressive.
What you're gonna get in the MetaQuest 3, twice the power, right? It's gonna be even way smaller. It's gonna be almost like a pair of like ski goggles. It's gonna have more of the mixed reality built into it.
See,
And
that's what I liked about the HoloLens, because sometimes it's good to be at your desk, and, some of the things that they show was there's some games and characters like Cuba to be bouncing around. Like, if I go real quick, let me do this real quick here. I gotta find the right buttons here. Been doing a lot of changes behind the scenes here, everyone. So, like on here, like Cuba to be bouncing on here, maybe got to smack him or something like that. But you're looking in your real area, so that's where the
yeah,
Hololens was kind of neat. Or let's say you bought this and you fix it. You could do an augmented reality where you press a button and this explodes, and you can see where all the parts are inside as you're working on it. So there's a lot of cool things that I think the augmented reality part, not just VR fully immersive, but being able to do both. And I think that's kind of what the 3 will do, sort of, maybe, kind of.
I saw you playing Space Pirate Trainer, so like that's a good title. That's good for a new VR user because that's like a wave shooter, so you just stand in one place
Right.
and shoot you like you got to ease yourself into some of the more extreme stuff. But
Oh,
that's
what's
part
extreme?
of
Like, what am I doing? Talking about an airplane? What's extreme? Talk to me.
extreme more is like if you play like a normal first person shooter on any console, it's not going to affect you, but start doing that in VR where you're moving
Right?
and especially smooth turning, that can easily get you VR sickness.
You'll hurl. You'll hurl. I did a roller coaster ride on my son's. You're just standing in the little roller coaster and looking around. When I got out of there, I took the mask off and my head was spinning. And I went, wow. I
Yeah.
was gonna get ready to hurl, basically. That's how bad it was.
But what's
So I
happening is that they're figuring out how to get the refresh rate way higher. The reason why also people get nauseous is because you can't have low refresh rates. It's got to be up there like 90 hertz, 120 hertz. They're figuring it out. So like I can play the PSVR 2. I can do anything in there and have no issue because it's
the
running
high
off the
refresh
power of
rate.
the PlayStation 5. So the
Gotcha.
games run smooth. But if stuff like if you're in VR, you in your mind, your brain thinks you're really there. So that's what happens. Like if something is wonky or not like the proper frames like that you'd see in real life,
Mhm.
your brain thinks that something's wrong and that you're sick.
Yeah,
And you
shutdown
can't
time.
you can't plow through it. Once you start feeling VR sickness, don't think, "Oh, well, I'll just keep going." You just
It's gonna get
it's time to
worse.
stop. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was getting worse being on that damn roller coaster. I was like, okay, I got to take this thing off. And then I got my brain resettled, and I was fine after. But I did see people with Microsoft Flight Simulator and Rogue Squadron uh, with the VR.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. You're in a plane or you're in an X-wing or a TIE fighter, and you're actually looking around flying a TIE fighter. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's all PC VR. Glen
Yeah.
should get like You should probably get the Vader Immortal series
Oh,
and try
I'm
that out.
that I see right now I'm just so hooked on the pirate game and these other ones, so I'm absolutely getting the Vader. That was originally why I bought it or got it through the company
Mhm.
because I wanted to play the Vader game. And honestly, I wasn't expecting too much, but I'm just gotten so impressed with the hand control. So I'm assuming a lightsaber is actually going to work a lot better. So I'm dying to play that game. I'm dying to. I'm not so saying I'm dying to play the plank game, but I'm going to try the plank game.
That's not really a game, it's more of just like a VR experience. There's no game to it, they just throw you in an elevator that takes you like 200 stories up, and then you walk out on a piece of wood.
Ugh.
But you have to put a real piece of wood down
But
on the
people put
ground.
an actual plank, so you
Oh
can
yeah.
actually set it up so the plank is where the plank in the
Ugh.
game is, so you feel it under your feet.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's crazy.
And then there's
It's
also some
awesome.
hidden stuff, like if you press certain buttons in the elevator, like spiders will come pouring out and things like that.
So yeah,
That's
All of the
there's so
things to
much to
creep you out.
try. I mean, the store's got so much in it, but even like just going through the movies that they have in there, like the Back to the Future ride, that doesn't even exist anymore.
Oh yeah, I
But
love
yeah.
that
It's cool
movie.
they brought that back.
yeah, but you can go in the VR and I was doing it. There's Biff. I'm chasing Biff through time, and it was kind of neat doing that. And you can have a big screen television, which
Correct.
is kind of neat. What they really need is a slap your kids simulator. Do they have one of those?
I'm sure
They
they
pro-
do. But yeah, like you can say, look, VR is not for me. I'm not going to play these games. I'm going to get sick or whatever. Okay, think about this. Imagine having like wanting to watch a movie or a 3D movie and watch it in a movie theater in your house. You could do that in VR. You'll actually think you're in a theater. Like even like the lighting and things that are happening in the movie, the
Right?
theater will have that effect where it will light up and have an effect from what's going on screen. And there's no better way to watch a 3D movie than in VR.
I didn't even think
So
about that.
Well, they have a Netflix theater in my son's where you actually link up your Netflix subscription and you can actually watch a
yeah,
movie.
you can in
Like
like
it has
like
like
a
a
cabin.
theater with the curtains and everything, and it
Yeah.
was kind of neat, you know.
And
So
Glenn, get big screen. It's free.
Okay.
Just get that. You can go into all the you can have your own little apartment. You can bring YouTube stuff up. We've actually brought up sometimes YouTube shows. We'd be watching them live with other friends in the movie theater, and like we're throwing popcorn at the screen and throwing drinks at the screen.
that's pretty funny.
Tit Tits for brains, crazy climbing VR, that would be pretty awesome. That would be
That
awesome.
would be. They look,
On a real
they
skyscraper,
already
fantastic.
just came out with a Rampage clone in VR where
Oh,
you are
really?
the monsters. Yeah.
Hmm.
It's only
Yeah,
going to
that
get
recently
better.
came out.
I think I have my new passion here.
I know that the screens in these VR, I know the Quest 2, it's not 4K that's sitting in front of your face. It's a little lower, if I believe, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what
It's
the
It's
resolution is
double it's I
exactly,
think
but
it's 2048. It's like double 1080p, but it's definitely not 4K. But
the
like I
thing is
said,
about VR, it's almost like graphics aren't as important, you know? It I don't know, it doesn't make it any more like doesn't draw you in anymore. Like yes, some of the stuff they're doing on the PSV uh PS2 off through the PS5 is insane, you know? But I've played VR and people will look at it like on a 2D screen and said, "Oh, that doesn't look good." I'm like, "Try it in VR and then tell me." It's totally different. You can't
yeah,
translate it over well.
I'm anxious to see Unreal 5 engine games within VR because what you see it rendering now in Unreal 5 engine, unbelievable. The stuff that's there, and there's that Matrix demo. I don't know if you guys saw that on next gen. It looks
I
incredible.
did. That looks crazy.
It looks crazy. Imagine that on your head with VR. You'd think you're
Yeah.
in that city. You know what I mean? It'd be great. It'd be awesome. Hey, Glenn, are you
yes,
giving stuff away tonight?
I
Because
am, and that's what
time's
I'm
a
trying to
wasting.
I am. I got two things I want to give away. I want to give away the second generation GRS buttonhole spinner, and I do want to give away the push pull spinner, second generation of that. So what I've been trying to do here, and I don't know why, I'm trying to get a comment picker it's working. I've always done it with shows that were after the fact, but I can't find one that's working with live. It keeps telling me that the live chat is blocked. And did we lose Brooklyn Menace? Is he back? We might have lost
His
him.
screen went black.
It did. It did. What happened?
Well, he didn't like it that you were giving stuff away.
I
Maybe.
guess
I don't
not.
know.
I guess not. Hopefully, let me see if
No,
he comes
it's
back
probably
here. He's blacked out for a second. He's still connected though. So if anyone in the chat knows a live YouTube chat selector, I want to give these two things away, but I can't find one that works with the live. I had ones that always went to videos that were old, and I assumed it would work. And it's like, nope, I can't do it. So what I may have to do is, after the show's over, I will just post the two winners that get picked from it.
And they get a hold of you, or how do you want to do that?
Yeah,
as
I'll do
far
it that.
as,
I'll do it that way. They'll reach out to me on my channel, but I'm still trying to find a way to do it. But what happened to Brooklyn? Brooklyn is gone. He just zonked out there.
Glen blocked the whole chat.
The chat's not working now? What?
Steven could be the comment picker. I guess I could, but I'd be a little biased, and I'd probably get yelled at after.
So what we'll do while I'm doing this, a couple of things that I did want to talk about. So I want to remind everyone that on the June 9th episode of Kicking an Old School, we're giving this bad boy away. This will be a signed by the one and only Don Bluth New Wave Toys converted Dragon's Lair Space Ace. So
You guys need to come and win this because I want that damn thing.
you can't have it though.
I know I
can't
can't
win.
have it, so I'm like,
can't win.
you guys need to give it a good home. Is what I'm saying.
Exactly. So he's back.
Oh, he's
he's
back.
There he is.
I'm
Woo!
back. Sorry.
Okay.
Too
So
much beer.
yeah, that's okay. So again, everyone, remember to be eligible to win the Don Bluth signed Space Ace. I'll have a link down below in this. I'll add it, but it's my video about the New Wave Toys contest. It's 2 videos ago. You have to comment whether you could talk about something about New Wave Toys. You could talk about something about Don Bluth, and also be part of the official New Wave Toys fan page on Facebook. But I'll post that link down below in this video here, because this is a very high quality show. We don't do anything half-assed on this show, right? Never, not ever. So
Except
I
for
want
tonight
someone.
by having me on.
Oh, stop. But I really want someone to win that, because that is valuable. I mean, Don Bluth, when I think back to all the different movies he did, I mean, he worked at Disney for a while, so he's had some, like Pete's Dragon, I believe. He was in Pete's Dragon, which was a live action and animated
It wasn't
show.
Puff the Magic Dragon?
No, Pete's Dragon. Pete's Dragon.
Okay.
And then Secret of Nim, Land for Time, All Dogs Go to Heaven, was it American Tail? He did all these other films, and they all did
Secret
very
of
well.
Nymph or something like
Yeah,
that.
Secret
or...
of Nim, and then Titan AE was another one.
Yeah, that's the one I mentioned last week. Yeah.
Right, and of course the Dragon's Lair and the Space Ace. So
And Dragon's Lair 2. Can't forget that. That's what's playing in the back of Bilkin's thing in the back there.
That's true. And I never really
iiRcade.
liked the second one. It's
Yeah.
annoying.
The second one's actually a little easier.
Yeah, well,
it's more consistent.
I suppose. But I definitely want someone to win that, and that'll be on the June 9th episode. And today, like I said, if anyone in the chat knows of a live chat picker, I can give these away like now. But if not, what I'll do is when the video ends, I'll pull all the comments in, and I'll do a sub show. So I'll show.
Yeah. So if you don't comment, you can't win.
Right.
So if you're just sitting there all quiet and stuff,
so I will
can't win.
do a. If I can't get it working here, no one knows how to do it. I'll do a second quick stream, pick a winner, not this kind. I'm going to pick a winner live, and then I'll post that. But I want someone to win these 2 guys right here. Boom and boom. Here we go.
Well, I'm going to make a comment. We've got 80
but
people
you can't
watching.
Win. You cannot be eligible.
No. Not a comment. I'm going to say a comment. So that
Okay.
we have 80 people watching right now, and I don't see 80 people typing, "Hey, I want to win this thing" in the chat so that they can actually win. So the people just sitting there twiddling their thumbs and not commenting, yeah, you're not going to win.
And we do this
So,
too. And I'm sure Brooklyn Menace wants to see this. So I'm going to go over here for a second. So I got an extended headset. So you guys can still hear me, right?
Yeah.
So this is the GRS Sinden gun.
No. It's called the GRS Boomstick. Remember?
Oh, I'm sorry, the boomstick. But no, this
was voted last week.
It is a higher quality Sinden. We have wood here for your trigger. Wood here. What is this actually called? I always call it just like
the stock.
Stock. Okay, so that's wood as well. We still have all the same controls on here. I have my iiRcade set up right now, my Frankenstein iiRcade right here. So if I was to just bring up some volume here, I don't know if you guys will be able to hear it. volume up over here. There we go. And put a coin in. Actually, I can do it from here as well. So this is all set up to go, and it's using Sinden technology.
So which game you playing?
This is
hear
Operation Wolf. I don't know if you can hear
Okay.
it.
I
Because
hear
on
it.
microphone, you can. Okay. So well, let's
On
start
my
here.
screen,
Like
it's really
showing those,
small. It's like this big. So I
It's
couldn't make it out.
I've been doing a lot of hacking on this machine, so
Glen's gonna get like 1,000 orders, and they're all gonna get shipped back when those hit the post office.
and of course this is on the legacy cabinet with my control deck, so it's got the functioning USB in it.
So we know it works on the iiRcade, so that's great. You got to try a game called Zombie Raid, Glen. It's pretty good.
I love
Pretty
that.
impressive.
I need more rockets. I love that.
So everybody, the GRS boomstick, it's going to get on order soon.
Just don't get pulled over with it in your car.
Yeah. If a cop is that stupid to know that this is not that it is a plastic gun, the cop's got more issues
Well,
than we
that's
care
the other
to
thing too.
mention.
So you can see right here, there's no tip on it. So we will ship it with this on there,
With the
like that.
condom on it, sure.
Right, but we do make it removable, and you could put on, you know, a different colored one if you like that, or put nothing on there at all.
So we got a super chat from P Dubs, by
Oh.
the way. $10 for hitting 10K subs.
Oh, another one. Thank you. $1 for every 1,000. And again, I really, really want to say thank you to everyone out there. I mean, it means a lot to me that all you guys come every week. Steve and I both care about you guys a lot. And all the
Yep.
subscribers, man, I am humbled like you guys have no business. And I really do appreciate it. I'll put this thing down right now. So this guy right
and
here.
you guys better subscribe because he's holding a gun. So.
I am holding a weapon. So right now this does work obviously on the iiRcade. It works on a Raspberry Pi. It works in Windows. It works on the Big Buck Hunter from Arcade 1UP. So pretty much anything a Sinden light gun will work on, this will work on as well. But obviously it's a lot more. This is heavy. I mean, this thing's got weight. I know the Big Buck Hunter is kind of light. There's a lot of weight on that.
Cool.
Put it down over there. Come back over
Knowing
here.
Glen, you could probably put actual shells in it when you're not using it for your game.
Well, you probably could. And again, that's just one design we're doing. So once we start selling these, we do have plans, you know, to make other shells, you know, cases, different types of guns,
An Uzi
in the future. Another thing that I just got, this just came in the mail the other day. So this is another product. You know, I have my $19.95 joystick with the 10 illuminated buttons, right? So it's the kit. You got the joystick, you get 10 illuminated buttons, and you get the encoder board. So we're always trying to make things simpler and cheaper for everyone. I mean, that's what I've always been doing. I want to make sure you guys can get the best stuff, inexpensive. So this is now a combo kit. This is a GRS trackball and buttonhole spinner. USB already. You don't need a 12-1 board. These are already set up for USB, and they are connected. So if you're in MAME or another program, just set up a trackball, and the spinner will work. You don't have to set up a separate spinner, a separate trackball. As far as the computer's concerned, it's one device, even though you have a trackball and you have a spinner. So I'll do a review on this one soon for you guys out there as well. Got another super chat. Looks like from Shit for Brains. Thank you, Glenn, for all you do. Love all your products. Well, you know, and that's the thing. I say this a million times that, you know, I am one of you guys. I am not a big corporation. My passion is for the games, and since I have that passion and I want the best I can get for as, you know, cheap as possible. But I hate saying more cheap because the stuff's not cheap, as you guys know. But I don't want you guys to have to spend a lot because, you know, it's a hobby. But my pledge has always been arcade quality without that arcade price. I'm going to keep doing that for you guys because you guys are my extended family, you know, and I want to make sure I take care of my family.
For the folks that are married, Glenn doesn't want you to end up sleeping on the couch for
No.
spending too much cash. So
No.
there you go.
I really don't. I really don't.
We
another
care.
thing I did want to bring up, another thing is, we have the Build-A-Cade, and there's a Raspberry Pi shortage, as we all know. So another thing I'm going to have relatively soon is the GRS SBC, and that SBC stands for Single Board Computer. So we are going to come out with a very inexpensive, I'm going to call it a Raspberry Pi 4 killer, because the performance of this should be. I'm going to get one to ETA Prime so we can test it. It should be better than a Raspberry Pi 4. But I'm shooting for around $40. So
Deal.
that will be for a Build-A-Cade. That could be for any retro project. This is not designed like a Pi to be used for anything under the sun. I'm designing this to be used for retro games, to use in that type of thing. So
Well, the guy that's doing your image is probably going to convert the image to this thing too, right? So that it's compatible
absolutely.
with
And
it and stuff.
we also
Yeah.
have like Keo Daikin. He builds a lot of these images as well. We have Chris Greeny who does them as well. So I have a lot of contacts that'll do that for it. But again, even Raspberry Pis, even if they're not terribly expensive, maybe like $75, $80. But if I can get it down for half of that cost and have better performance and actually be able for you guys to buy it versus you can't even get one anywhere, that's what I'm trying to do as well. I want to make sure you guys can do that. I had more things I want to talk about on that, but Stephen,
From what I understand, by the way,
right,
I was heard somewhere that the Pi shortage is slowly going away,
right, of
but it's
course.
not totally fixed. But for those that just want to stick to a Pi no matter what, the shortage is happening, but it's getting better apparently. So
It
anyways.
is. But if we could sell you one that works with everything that you guys need,
Yeah,
and
yeah, for sure.
save half the price, should be able to go for it.
Win-win.
Well, like I said, I should get my first production run unit hopefully in the next week or so, and then once I do that and test it out and give my thumbs up, we can go from there. Definitely, I'm hoping by summer. I mean, it's something we should be able to ramp up relatively quickly. The GRS Panel Pod, that is ramping up. It should be shipping shortly as well. Let's make sure I don't hit anything I forgot to talk about here. Obviously, the Ikari Warriors stick here. This thing is. I'm waiting on something from, and I'll announce that. So I'm waiting on one thing from one person. Once I get that one person's approval, then we can start selling this. And I can't go into more details than that, but this thing is ready to go. I'm just waiting for final
A thumbs
approval
up
from
somewhere.
somebody. Right. And of course, people want to know about the iiRcade control panel. On that, we're ready to go. We've been ready to go for a couple of weeks. We're all set. We're just waiting for iiRcade to be ready on their end. We have to make sure we're all on the same page and when we release this stuff. So just waiting on them. So again, the iiRcade control panel is ready to go. And again, that's for the gold or the legacy. That will give you the 2 joysticks with the 4 8-way gate switchers with 2 spinners, the trackball, and USB ports for the legacy unit. Obviously, the gold has them already. We'll include a USB hub. So you will have not only the 2 the machine has, but 2 additional ones with 2 Sinden guns or something along those lines. And we're even going to include the power brick. No one does that anymore. Who includes power bricks anymore? No one does that.
Don't expect you to get US.
One at a time, boys.
Sorry. Go ahead, dude.
You have a lot of people waiting for that iiRcade controller.
Yeah, I do. Just waiting for the thumbs up, and then we can flick one switch, and the pre-orders will go live on the T6 website. And again, we have a sale for your first time purchases and pretty much everything. It's usually 20% off on your first purchase. Right now, the Build-A-Cade is at 30% off. Just trying to give back a little bit to the community. But I have some more things in the back of the works as well still. So I am not done yet. But again, I appreciate all you guys out there. You guys are the best. Like Mike Yoon, he's always there. He's my little champion. He's always giving me a hand out there. All you guys are, and I appreciate it. But enough about me. I'm talking way too much about myself. I want to go back to Brooklyn Menace here for a minute. So Brooklyn, when you were a kid, we all had our favorite sci-fi movies. When I was really young, James Bond. He was like James Bond. I obviously liked Buck Rogers and Battlestar Galactica and those type
And a
of things.
bunch of obscure ones that nobody saw.
as usual. But like, what was your like when you were growing up? Your Saturday morning cartoons. Like, what was your things back
Um,
then?
oh yeah, Super Friends,
Super
Legion of the
Friends.
Superheroes, Land of the Lost. Like that was I I love that stuff.
That
Yeah,
was your Saturday morning jam, basically, or
Yeah, especially the Super Friends.
Super Friends was kind of big back then. It really was. Now you had was it Zan and Gina, or was it the I forgot the kid's name, the boy and the girl and the dog, Wonder
Oh, that used
Dog.
to join the rings together.
That was Zan and Gina when the twin powers activate. But before them, it was a teenage boy who originally could fly, and then they took it away, made him a regular teenage boy, his girlfriend, and a dog, Super Dog, Wonder Dog, I think it was called.
is that a Marvel or DC
That
thing?
was DC. That was Super
It was
Friends.
DC, yeah.
Superman, Batman, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, and
Gotcha.
Robin were all in that. Now, do you have any brothers and sisters?
Do I have a brother and a sister?
Okay, so you guys didn't fight over the TV or fight over the Atari? You didn't have any problems like that?
Um, Probably
If you're in line, we'll know.
with my brother, we fought over everything. Like literally, it was like living with two professional wrestlers in the house.
And the girl sat back and didn't get
Well,
involved, I guess.
did your sister play a lot? I mean, was she like into video games as well? Was she
Nah,
like now?
she was a little bit older than us and was like out and about. But my brother and I were more with the games. But I was actually like the games never stopped for me. For my brother, he more got into like sports, things like that. I've always
Loser.
been,
What's wrong with him?
yeah, exactly. How dare you go out and get
No jocks
exercise?
allowed here, man. That's
But
cool.
yeah, the
So,
games never stopped for me at all.
oh, that's cool.
You know,
So
to
you
this day.
basically, what about the movies? Is there movies that you went, oh, this is the movie? They could strap me down in the chair, put a gun to my head, and what would be the last movie you'd want to see before they,
Man, that's a tough one. But I'm like such a huge horror movie fan. But I
Okay.
just remember as a kid, like going to see Star Wars. And back then, when you saw a movie and then it was out of the movies, there was no way to see it anymore. So it just
Right.
had to stay in your memory. And I remember as a kid hoping that I would have dreams that I was in Star Wars so I could see it again.
Hmm.
Nowadays, like you don't like it's out, like you have access to everything, but things like as a kid stuck with you a
Yep.
lot more then.
Kids today don't realize that. Back then, show was on TV or in the movies, and when it was gone, that was it.
You didn't even
Yeah.
know where it went.
No.
That's the thing. You
No.
saw it at the theater, let's say in the summer of whatever year, and then VHS and video rentals wasn't quite a
No.
thing in
Even
the early
we're
in
talking
the
even
late
before that.
70s.
Well, even
No, it
Yeah,
before that,
wasn't.
that was it.
When I after I saw Star Wars, there was no way to see it like for years.
yeah. It
You
popped up,
know,
I think, on TV for a while or whatever.
Not for a
So
long
what?
time. Not for a
Okay,
long
so is
time.
it Star Wars you're sticking with that answer, or is it something more like because you made
I would
Glen's
say that blew
face
me
switch
away.
a little bit
Man,
with the horror movies. I want to hear horror
yeah.
movie because every other guest we've had on this, they say the same stuff, Goonies and E.T. or whatever. But
Mine
you
really
say,
like if you want to go to horror movies, like stuff that blew me away was Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, the unrated cut. Going like because in Brooklyn
You
they
went right
didn't
in.
care how old we were. They let us in.
Those are the good
So
old days.
that actually blew me away.
you have money, you're old enough. Come
Yes.
on.
Like they did not care. And I would buy a ticket and there were 3 movies theaters in one. I would buy a ticket and stay there all day and just hop from movie to movie on the one ticket and they just like hang around, play some video games in between the movie and then just like walk in like I had my ticket and spend the whole day there.
Wow.
Um Man, Flash Gordon, like
There we go.
literally sat in there all day long watching that movie.
Dun, 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 dun,
Never.
dun, dun.
That's the thing is like as a kid, like you could just watch these things over and over again. You never got tired
That's
of
the
it.
one with the Queen soundtrack, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
Funny
that was one of
story.
my favorites. The
Before the
Howling was one of
show,
my favorites.
before the show, my brother goes, he's hearing, he goes, that Queen? It was Flash Gordon playing from Queen. He goes, they steal his song to put in the movie? I said, no, no. He made the song for the movie. Queen made the song for the movie. He goes, it's a pretty good song. See, I know. It was a good movie too.
I'd have
See
to
Evil Dead in the
watch
chat
it
room.
again.
I
Oh, Evil
remember
Dead.
when Evil Dead came out, I remember other kids talking about it, but I hadn't Evil Dead I didn't catch until like VHS back
Yeah,
then,
same
and
here.
that was it, you
Yeah,
know.
me too. I didn't get to see it. Did you see Evil Dead Rise? I haven't seen it yet, but
It's
that's
I
the new
saw
supposedly
one.
a little
it's
of it.
good,
I
but
haven't seen the whole thing yet.
I heard it's
Apparently
good,
it's
but
good.
kind of
Yeah,
a
I heard
dark
the
a
same
dark
thing.
dark ending, which is what you would expect from the Evil Dead.
But you know what's funny is that we talked about the gap between, the movie at the theater and then seeing it much later. You look at Super Mario. That thing came out on theaters last couple months ago, and it's already available digital streaming,
Yeah.
like really, really, really fast. And I think that's the fastest I've seen something transition like that, like 2 months later, a month later, or whatever. So
And I can honestly
yeah,
say now, other what's different now than back then is I actually enjoy and I get a better experience watching some of these movies at home on my own personal system than in the
yeah,
movies.
me too. I prefer the theater here. The surround sound's not that good, and I've got better surround sound, so I prefer that. Glenn, I got to ask you a question. Don't
Sure.
want to change subject, but it's 9 o'clock. Do you have to go super game room, dudes, or we can keep going? I don't know.
Well, I think we can go a little bit longer. It's a special.
Okay, that's up
It's
to
a
you. That's
10,000 user
cool. Yeah,
special.
don't
We'll
want you
go a little
getting
bit
in
longer.
trouble. That's all.
No. But I will say I haven't found any ways to pick from the live chat right now. So I will tell everyone right now, as long as you have a comment in the chat now, when the stream ends, I will pull that information out and I will do a quick little stream, pick 2 winners, and I'll post it. And all you have to do is send me an email at glensretroshow@gmail.com with your address, and I will send you prize number 1 to the first winner and prize number 2 to the second winner over here. So I do want to give these away.
Cool.
I guess I didn't plan things out. I assumed what I normally did my picker to pick, the chat out of a video I could use, but it'll say it's locked. It won't let me pull it out of live. So I don't know
All,
how the
all
other
you got to
guys do it. I have
all
no
you got
idea.
is a nose picker. That's all you got.
That I could do live too. Yes, it's not a problem. So Brooklyn, again, you're a big fan of iiRcade. Why do you like the iiRcade so much? What pulls you into that machine more so than anything? You got the hat, you're all set. Tell me
Yeah.
tell me
Well,
your
this
story.
is for my show, which is on tonight at 10:45 p.m. Eastern. As soon as I get off this, I'm gonna do a little last minute editing, and we'll be live doing that tonight. What actually drew me into the arcade first was Dragon's Lair. I had high hopes for getting the when I saw Arcade One Up had announced their Dragon's Lair
Mhm.
cabinet,
Mhm.
which had disappeared. Um, that and I always wanted that game because I just remember going to King's Plaza in Brooklyn and walking in and seeing Dragon's Lair for the first time and kids were playing it. And I just kind of stood there for hours watching this game, afraid to try it because it was pretty expensive then and like you'd be out in a half a second. So to finally be able to just have a legitimate version of that at home is really what sold me. And I've always said everything else I've gotten on the arcade is just extra. I'm also a huge fan shoot 'em ups, beat 'em ups. I love some of these modern retro games when they're done properly, where it's not just like, oh, we're gonna make the graphics look pixelated, so it's a retro game. No, I like the ones that actually you couldn't tell the difference whether they would have been in an arcade back in the late '80s or early '90s. And I just love playing on that arcade type platform. You
Do
know,
you, there's 2 games you gotta check out if you like that modern retro. One that I enjoy is, Broforce.
I have that, but
Oh,
not
that's
on. They don't
so
have
that's
that
so
on
good.
arcade yet.
No, they don't, but it's on Steam and, stuff like that, and the other one is, Shovel Knight.
Shovel Knight.
Really
Not
good.
yeah, I've heard of it, I
Real
haven't played it.
very good game. Very, very good game. So anyways, continue,
But,
sorry.
like, I'm so much at like, even when I had my Pandora's box where I was introduced to a lot of the games that are on iArcade right now,
Right?
um, it's not the same. Like, just having a controller in front of me and having it up on the screen is not the same to me as standing in front of, something that's an arcade cabinet.
Yeah, there's something different about it for sure.
Yeah, and
Yeah, yeah,
it's
I
just
agree.
I enjoyed I feel like wha I like the community. I like the fact I like watching how it's evolved over the past 2 years. and it's almost like it makes Fridays pretty exciting to me. We never know what's going to happen. Um, and it's almost like sometimes, like I've explained it, like getting a new arcade cabinet every Friday. Some
That's
weeks
cool.
it goes bust, it's not, but you can't always think about yourself. You got to think about, like, there's lots of different people out there with these cabinets, and they have to make something to make everybody happy.
Right.
Do you have kids? It's a
I
personal
do.
question, but
Yeah.
yeah, you got to please them too because they're going to be touching
I,
and
I, I
playing.
have a
And
9-year-old, and like if he comes in here, he's immediately on the iiRcade because they have some of those.
yeah,
They have some of those games on there that are just kind of like geared towards kids.
that your youngest and oldest or only child or
No, I have a older son too.
okay, yeah.
He's more into like PC gaming.
Okay, that's cool too. Yeah, my son's in there. He's 18 and loves the PC games. So that's cool. That's awesome. I get the
But it's
family
I
involved and
I like seeing like the younger ones, like a 9-year-old who's never been exposed to an arcade.
oh yeah.
Like, and the only thing that he's known are all these modern systems that I have, but yet these will still draw him in and still keep his attention.
Well, they're
So
used to
it
the
says
phone
something.
games now. A lot that age group and that generation, it's phone games, cell phone games,
Right.
you know. And then they see this where there's a ginormous screen and controls that are very tactile. I could see that appeal to that generation that's just used to a touchscreen, you know, something that they can grab on and press a real button and an actual mechanical button. That's just something to be said there for sure. You
Yeah.
know,
Well,
that's awesome.
it's
That's
almost
awesome.
primal, because you're like you're involved with it. Your hands. I watch people playing these games. They're like, they're hitting the joystick. They're running around. They're engaged in it. With touchscreen, okay, there you go.
Glenn, sometimes he'll say to me, could I sit down? Could I use the stool? I'm like, no. If you're playing an arcade, you gotta stand. It's part
That's
of it.
hardcore. You want to test any arcade machine or MAME box or iiRcade thing? Put up track and field and watch somebody
Oh yeah.
pound the crap out of those buttons.
Yeah.
You tend to be a little scared that they're gonna, you know, cave in the whole control panel. But
Well, hey,
oh,
hey, Papa Brad can test any controller. I've seen that guy play. Am I wrong? I mean, I've
Oh,
seen
it's,
him
it's
beat the
like
shnikes out of any. He's like
oh
beating the
yeah.
crap out of it.
Well, I got
to explain that like he's like Cocaine Bear let loose in the arcade.
well, I got to tell you a story. I had built my MAME cabinet a while back, like in the early 2000s, and I just finished building it. And a friend of mine came over and he's like, "Put up track and field." He was pounding the crap out of the buttons, and I just finished building this thing with decals, and it was fresh, And I was looking at it, going, "He's just pounding the crap out of my new cabinet." Oh my god, So it's
Yeah.
pretty funny. Just, but you see somebody pounding on that thing, it's pretty funny.
Yeah, Brad came over here. I wouldn't let him play anything.
Here he said it right here too. He's right. If it survives, Papa Brad is a quality controls. I would not want to be a controller in his hand, man. I seen him that Coleco game, Princess something, like some princess game.
Princess Quest or something.
Oh my god, he was just like brutal on that controller. Brutal.
And you know what happened on that game is we were on my show. Brad was playing that one, and we were just laughing at him the whole time. And making fun of the game. And then I wound up getting the game and really enjoyed it after laughing at Brad playing it. So I had to endure a punishment. So I had to eat the world's hottest chip live
Oh
on the show.
geez, how'd that go?
Not good. Yes, it
Your
went.
nose
I
starts
kind of
watering.
endured it on the show, but when the show ended, we usually hang out and talk a little bit backstage. I'm not even kidding. I literally thought I was going to wind up in the hospital that night.
So talk me through this. So I've seen these people eat this chip. Did you just put it in, swallow it? Did you chew it, swallow it? How did that go first? I need to know.
I was just eating the chip during the show, and they were telling me to stop, and I just ate the whole thing, and it was bad. I dealt with the punishment. I got past the spice, um, and then right about kind of like when the show was ending is when I guess it hit my stomach,
And what was that
and
like?
that was dude.
He
I
was
was
probably sitting on
I'm
the
not
toilet for
kidding.
a while.
I was in the fetal position outside my bathroom for about 45 minutes
Did you
to an
drink
hour
milk? Did
after the
anything
show.
help at all?
No, why would I do that? That was the whole point. I did it with no drinks, nothing to soothe it. And they were telling me to stop, that like that I was going to damage myself, but I did it anyway with
Wow.
no drinks.
So this is how
So
you know you have good guy friends because they're laughing at him. We laugh at his pain. That's what guys do. We laugh at someone else's pain.
Yep. That's what their job is,
so I
basically.
won't be making fun of any more iiRcade games that Brad likes.
That's funny.
That's why everything is a 10 out of 10, if you ask me.
Well,
That's
that's it.
funny.
It kind of looked almost like is it play like a Mario game? That's kind of what it's like. Kind of like a puzzle Zelda Mario
What's cool
clone.
about it is they built it off of ColecoVision graphics. So it's limited by, but it does more. I don't think they could have actually pulled this off. And it's a difficult game. The music, we were laughing at the music, but actually the music's not that bad. Um, and the main thing is like trying to get through that game is really difficult, but they give you lots of chances to get these little hearts to keep your character powered up. But it's like you get like one chance and you're done to try to make it through this game, and it gets really, really difficult. I got pretty far. I got to the second from the last level, but I think Brad actually beat it.
Well, I'm sure the machine just said, "I'm done. I can't take this anymore." Well, tell you what we're gonna do because I know we're going. I don't want to go over too much in Super Gamer Dudes. So, first thing I want to say is Brooklyn, thank you for coming on the show, and you have a show
Yes,
on
thank you.
tonight at 10:45, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
10:45 p.m. The Friday night arcade show will be on there tonight.
Now,
Uh,
who do you have on your show? Who's gonna be on the show with you?
it's I host a show with Papa Brad and Nix, who is one of the like top players on the iiRcade. You will see him number one on pretty much every leaderboard of any game he has. And we've had a bunch of fourth co-hosts, like as of recent, Mr. Miami Cuddles, but like every one of my fourth co-hosts always leaves the show. So we invite. I'm just at the point where I invite people every week. We'll see. Maybe eventually someone will stick.
Well, don't miss his show tonight at 10:45. And again, Steven, how about you? Anything going on?
No, it's boring right now, so nothing really going on.
Okay, so I'm
Nothing
gonna
really
leave.
going on at this point.
I'm gonna leave it with once again. I want to thank everyone for supporting me in so many different ways. We have the I support Glen thing with the whole thing with Arcade One Up. I really appreciate that support. I really appreciate everyone who subscribed to the channel. I love all you
10,000.
guys.
Remarkable.
I love all you guys, and I'm gonna continue to try and do my best to make sure I make great products. So when I end this stream, so put a chat in quick if you haven't done so already. When I end the stream, I'm gonna pull everyone out of the chat, and I'm going to pull two winners. The first person will be for the push-pull spinner version 2, which is compatible with the Arcade 1-Up Tron unit. And then the second winner will get the standard GRS version 2 spinner, which has the ability to change its couple of features on there. And I'll post that video. It'll be up tonight. So make sure you put it in here. Again, Brooklyn Menace, thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you,
Steven,
Glenn.
as
For
always,
sure.
good to have you here. But again, everyone out there, thank you so much for all your support. I can't thank you enough. Super Gamer Dudes is live, so you probably want to go over to see them. But do check back later after Super Gamer Dudes, see who won these two items.
Good
That's
luck,
it.
everybody. You don't chat, you don't win.
You don't chat, you don't win. Listen, thank you all. I love every one of you guys. And what I say now, I say forever. No matter how much fun we have here, no matter what games we play, nothing's more important than family, friends. Make sure you tell them every day you love them. Tomorrow's never promised. But what do we say after that?
Game on.
Game on.
Sit, Blue, sit.